Training and capacity building for personnel are critical for effective governance. In this regard, the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, has stressed the need for a collaboration with the National Institute of Security Studies to enhance the training and capacity development of paramilitary personnel under the ministry. Tunji-Ojo said it's essential to train core intelligence agencies, including the Department of State Services. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the program this evening. It's strange to see me here, right?
Yes.
It shocked me too.
It's not strange.
It would seem that Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo has been up and doing, since his appointment, particularly with what he's been able to achieve with international passport in Nigeria. But what are your thoughts about this new development in the area of paramilitary training, Bikeo?
Yes, I think this is also in line with his resolve to improve things in the ministry he's been assigned. He has some paramilitary units under him. Migration, what was it called?
Prison.
Civil defense.
Civil defense,
the
prisons.
prisons.
Yes.
Correctional services.
So he knows that there's a need to improve those units. And one way by which that can be done is to achieve improvement in actionable intelligence, improvement in sourcing actionable intelligence. If, for example, we had actionable intelligence about the Kuje prison attack, for example, and we acted on the intelligence, we wouldn't have found ourselves in such a nasty situation with Boko Haram fighters freeing their colleagues, killing people in the process. So he knows that those paramilitary units under him must improve. And one area in which he believes that improvement can happen is through intelligence gathering. And that's why he believes that the Institute of Security Services, Security Studies, can be of tremendous help in training his men and women and improving their capacity. So I think this is in line with the pragmatic approach that he has adopted since he took over the reins as a Minister of Interior, and I believe that this is the way to go. I was listening to him saying, look, young people would be recruited into the fire service. And he said, look, fire service is not simply putting out fires. You are the first line that people will approach in the case of other accidents, whether it's fire disaster or building collapse and all that. There are many areas in which they can be of help. And they're saying, look, don't limit yourself to simply firefighting. And he has shown a desire to freshen up the fire service as well, bringing in young people. So I think he's right on the money.
When you talk about prison break, we've had an unprecedented number, as so called, in the past year, particularly in the previous administration. It's hard to tell if it's just an intel problem because, in addition to that, some would say, are you sure that some people did not have that intel, or there are bad eggs in the system who are frustrating intelligence in that regard?
Well, it's a combination of both, because one, if for these studies, I think part of what was discussed, during this meeting was to even preempt what might likely happen. So when the senior level officers go for such training, this capacity building trainings, they will have to teach them how to detect, to be proactive. Before it happens, they need to know. It can be maybe through body language, through clusters. There will be different ways, by which they can know. And I think that is one of the reasons why we usually have these prison breaks, because sometimes it happens and people will be asking how, why? Is it that they didn't know? But when they go for courses like this, they will be able to preempt.
Indeed.
They will be able to know and detect on time and nip it in the bud. And also don't forget that they can, when they go for capacity building, they can also become watchmen amongst themselves to know who might likely go off the line. Because if you are 10 in the room, there will definitely be one Judas, one way or the other. Whether we are 12, there will be one Judas in the room. So they would always look for loopholes or people who might not want to go in line with what the minister or what the service, is set out to do. Part of this, I feel, will also be bringing and sharing new innovative ideas, because I think most of our services are lacking in that line. And with the way the current minister, the interior minister, is going, you can see that it's bringing new, fresh ideas. You know that a younger person is in the saddle. You just said something about the passports. He said this must happen in so number of days, and people are already happy. He's even telling us now that
you can have them delivered at home.
It can be delivered at home. So we want the same thing, to be replicated in all the agencies or the security services that he is handling.
One challenge, though, that I foresee that the ministers will have is breaking that lethargy within the civil service. You saw what happened between the Minister of Works and his staff about resumption time and all of that. My mom retired from the prison service after about over 20 years, so I have the inner gist. It's not just about training them. This is a challenge that has been there for decades. Do you think anyone has the magic wand now?
Well, we have to start from somewhere. First and foremost, I'm not afraid to say it. In the civil service, we are carrying too much dead weight. People who have nothing to contribute. They are just there earning salaries. The bureaucracy in our country, at state level, at local government level, at federal level, is over-bloated. And we will never be able to achieve effectiveness and functionality without taking a look at the bureaucracy and probably right-sizing the bureaucracy. When we begin to do that, people will sit up. There are ministries where let me just say, there are offices where they have about 7 official cars and 15 drivers. What is the meaning of that? If they want to right-size the civil service, for example, Labour will be up in arms and all that. It happened here in Lagos. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu reached the second term, but he made sure that he right-sized the civil service. And today, the civil service in Lagos is one of the most functional and in the whole country. So we have to try to change the psyche of those people. You can imagine the sense of entitlement of people who looked straight into the face of the Minister of Works and told him that, look, you must first tell us that we must not come late. You know that you cannot punish us for coming late because you did not warn us. And I'm like, during the military era, people lost their jobs for coming late.
And they've even adjusted the time to 9 a.m. We're not even talking about 8 a.m.
I mean, the sense of entitlement is funny.
Yes, now.
I was looking at it, what's going on? I also think that there are some ministers that they can't do that.
Yes.
Yes, who would go to great lengths to make sure that he had his way. When El-Rufai was Minister of FCT, for example, could anybody have confronted him in that way? Things have collapsed in our country.
No, they told him to his face that he can't do anything without them. And I think he's also trying to be political.
He tried to say, okay, you can't do. He was the one who said it first, that you can't do without me. Then they started grumbling. Yeah. Sending a clear message to that, look, we can do without you. And then he said, okay, you can do without me. I mean, the whole thing was really, it was not a good view. That our country, you have no reason to come late to work. I mean, if they delay your salary, you are going to be up in arms. But you are coming to work when you like. A lot of them don't really do anything. This
All right.
is the point.